I was sitting at a restaurant once when I was younger, eating my food, minding my own business. But then I heard the man next to me say, "Food just needs to be hot and fast so I can continue my day." And I thought to myself, isn't there more to food than it just being hot and fast? I thought about this experience throughout my life, and my conclusion is you eat food 3 times a day, every day. Food forms connections and passions. Food builds and breaks relationships depending on if you have a different opinion on pineapple on pizza. Food is so much more than a hot and fast meal where taste doesn't matter and its only purpose is to keep you going. And so I set out to find the food that wasn't meant to be hot and fast. I wanted to find the food beyond the kids' menu. When the waiter asked me if I wanted the mac and cheese or the spaghetti bolognese, I'd say, "Give me the damn octopus." I love eating food, it's my passion. I love experiencing new flavors, new smells, new tastes, though I also knew I wanted to transition from only eating food to learning how to cook as well. COVID changed everything I knew about the way this school functioned. I went from enjoying leap classes and going on field trips to just sitting in my chair and staring at my screen. During this period, I really struggled to find motivation. So I turned to food. But instead of comfort eating my way through this harsh time, I decided to take an internship at Locavore for 6 months. Before I started, though, I felt I needed a little bit of training. I wasn't exactly ready to enter a 50 best in Asia with no prior experience. So to train, I asked one of my mom's friends, who happens to be a professional chef, to teach me how to cook for 2 months. I would receive a recipe, and then from there I would go out shopping with her, where she would teach me how to pick out all the best ingredients for that particular dish. I learned all the basics, so when I went into Locavore, I had some skills under my belt. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the overall experience was hard. It was very hard. The butcher shop I worked in the butcher shop, cutting up various different types of meat, including brain and testicles, as well as working in the cafe for most of my time because the main Locavore kitchen was just kind of above my level. Just looking inside seemed stressful and difficult, though I knew one day I would be ready. Now let me share some stories with you. The days would get extremely hot in the kitchen, and one day I learned how to cope with the heat was the walk-in -4 degree freezer. I would often run into the freezer and just kind of refresh my brain whilst trying to avoid actual hypothermia. The butcher shop kitchen that I worked in was a very small enclosed room, and every so often my boss would walk in just to dice onions that would make everyone in the room cry for an hour. And when we asked him why did he do such a thing, his explanation was just, "This is the kitchen, man. You sweat, you cry, you spill boiling water on yourself, and that's just how the kitchen is." And I liked that. I liked how sporadic the kitchen was, how chaotic it can be. When I was working in the cafe, they often didn't let me cook or plate much of the stuff because you could tell they had no idea if I would mess it up or not. But around the final week, my boss said to me, "Hey, it's your final week here, and we want you to get the real experience of being in a proper kitchen. So tomorrow, you will be in the main Locavore kitchen all day preparing and cooking." This was essentially my graduation of my internship, and I was excited. I was ready. I wanted to show that I was more than just a dishwasher or a prep chef. So I woke up that morning, I took a deep breath, and I told myself I could do it. Now, Locavore has this open-style kitchen where all the guests can see everything that happens, so the pressure was on. And the pressure got a lot more tense when I got put right in front on plating duty. This was my opportunity to show that I was something more. I was in charge of plating 4 different dishes where precision was key. They only showed me how to plate the dishes once, and I had to remember. At this point, the training wheels were gone. The pace of things started to speed up as more and more people started rolling into the restaurant. It went from, "Hey, can you pass me that sauce over there? Thank you," to just sauce! I was in that flow. I had that ecstatic feeling where there could be no mistakes. We turned the kitchen into this beautiful, well-oiled, synergistic machine where people flawlessly moved around each other with straight precision. We did not miss a beat. Sauces were flying, potatoes were frying, I was in the groove, and this shit was exciting. And no one was denying that the food we made, it was delicious, it was ambitious. And I don't want to sound repetitious, but you gotta understand, we did not miss a beat, and I loved every part of it. This whole experience at Locavore, it was amazing, learning how the kitchen worked, how everything functioned. And at this point, a switch flipped inside of me. I knew I wanted to share this learning experience with the students at Green School in the same way my boss shared it with me. When I returned back to Green School after Locavore, the first thing I did was look at the cooking options for the high school curriculum. And sadly to say, there were definitely not as many cooking classes as I would have hoped for. But now with my newfound power, I decided I would change that. The first step, of course, was looking at what facilities we had in terms of a kitchen. At the time, we had the kitchen over in the middle school, which they used for their cooking classes. And we also had the old, dilapidated student kitchen, which had its roof practically collapsing in on itself, making it an actual safety hazard. Did a little more digging and found out that the school actually had a budget to renew that old student kitchen and turn it into something a lot more useful than the local eyesore. Now, I would like to invite a special guest to the stage, Pak Kadek Antara. Please, Pak, come here. Yes. So, side by side, Pak Kadek Antara and I worked on creating a student kitchen that we could be proud of. Thank you so much, Pak. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you. And let me tell you, this process, it was great. I was expecting things to go wrong, money to go missing, because let me tell you, me and my dad in the past built a restaurant together in Ubud, and the building process was just this constant, hey, for the couch we ordered, we'd like it to be in the color blue. 2 weeks would go by, and the couch would come back pink. And when we asked them, why is the couch pink, they would always just say something like, well, we liked pink better than blue. But this was not the case with Pak Kadek. It was great. Everything ran smoothly. Turns out Pak Kadek worked in a kitchen for over 20 years, so we just ping-ponged ideas off of each other. Now, we looked at the budgeting and figured out that we needed about 18% more to complete everything. So I gave a speech. I ran a raffle at the parents' assembly, with the main prize being one night at Locavore for 2. And with the help of this amazing, amazing community, we raised $3,000 in one day. Woo! And you know, Pak Kadek Antara and I were not about to let you down. So we built the best student kitchen this school has ever seen. It has space. It is not cramped. It has stainless steel tabletops for easy cleaning access. It has a roof, which is in good condition, a very large step up from the previous building. So now that the project was complete, I wanted to take it for a spin. I wanted to run a proper cooking class for the students in high school. So Ibu Eka and I collaborated together on creating a cooking class that would teach the basics in a kitchen, just like how my boss taught me. My aim for the class was to teach students how to read a recipe properly and build up their confidence in cooking to the point where if they have a recipe, they can cook it with no problem. This skill is especially useful once some go off to college or are in a pinch for money. My students are now able to search up cheap food for broke, sleep-deprived college students that is not pocket ramen. And hey, they can make whatever they like. Now, my favorite part of the class, without a doubt, has to be watching the students grow and become more confident when creating flavors as well as saving them. The mark of a good chef is the ability to bring back a tasteless dish from the grave. as well as knowing how to do it. Now, a certain group in my cooking class faced a challenge in the beginning. The pumpkin soup they made, it was tasteless. Now, instead of trying to maybe save it by adding salt or spices, maybe caramelizing some onions and throwing it in, they added 2 packets of MSG when I wasn't looking. I was bamboozled. Now, after the MSG incident, they have improved considerably, which is really great to see. Now, before one of my students joined my class, he would often find himself eating like this. Oh. That was a bad idea. Oh, disgusting. Okay. But now, after my class, that same student is able to cook a bunch of new, beautiful dishes. Dishes that aren't meant to be hot and fast. Dishes that truly nourish you and feed your body, leaving you with that feeling of pure satisfaction. This teaching experience has taught me that, surprisingly to myself, I really enjoyed it. I liked watching people learn and go through the process that I went through starting out. And now that I'm graduating, I want to continue this new passion of teaching. I want to show people how to create and design dishes just like the students in my class were able to. The meals that fill you with that urge to go for another delicious bite. I want to show the world the importance of food, all the complexities and intricacies. So to start, after this summer, I am launching a business plan where I will come to your home and teach your teenager and their friends how to cook a couple of dishes once a week for dinner. They will get to learn all the basics of cooking, just as the people in my class were able to. And afterwards, you and your family will get to enjoy a nice home-cooked meal prepared by your children. I want kids of the newer generation to develop a new passion for cooking because this passion, it will always, always be useful. Nanda, think about it. You're on a date, but you don't have enough money to take that person out. Boom, home-cooked meal. Savan, do you want to impress your parents? It's done. Paksal, have your friends invited you to come to a dinner or a party and you don't have anything to bring? Well, why don't you bring something amazing and wow everyone? I have a collection of different dishes and recipes that your kids could choose from. Tacos, curries, soups, pastas, whatever they like. I will buy all the ingredients, price is not included, and show up right to your house. So if you are interested in this offer, I highly encourage you to grab a card or come see me afterwards. I hope you have enjoyed the show. Thank you all so much for listening to my story, and a special thanks to Ibu Harriet for supporting us through these last blocks, as well as Pak George, as well, of course, as my mom and dad for supporting me when I really, really needed it, and of course, Ibu Kanya for helping me through this process as well. See you all in the kitchen. Thank you.